All right, so we're trying to get this linked up and it will not work. So that was my great attempt. I didn't have anybody I could call to try to how to do this. And they said, oh, you just push the 3 dots and everything will be happy, and it doesn't do that. So I'm not sure how to link it to my Facebook group. So I'll just do it like I normally do, or to record here, and then I load it and send it. So eventually I'll learn how all this stuff works, but you try what you can. So, all right. Well, thanks for coming today. And yeah, setting goals and being living in gratitude. Sometimes there are times in our lives where that's easier to do than others. And so I think that's why it's really important to start in gratitude, because that really helps you know and look back where you've been so you know where to go. So just as an introduction, I'm Jody Colgrove, and I'm a health and healing coach. And so sometimes it's hard to explain exactly what I do, but I'm really helping people find out how to get their health back. And I do that through energy medicine. So I've got another person that I've got to admit here. So let's get that started. And I'll check on chat. So I just want to make sure that chat is open just in case I have. Welcome, Bruce. I'm glad you can join us today. We just kind of got started and starting here. So, okay. So my main goal is to let you know that, how to take care of your health in a God-given way. And whether it's sleep, digestion, feeling better, not having anxiety, all those are things that are very easily taken care of, typically by, toxins that are in our lives we don't realize, and also pathogens that have been hidden that we don't realize. And so once we identify it to the body, then the body can heal it. And so that's kind of the basis of what I do. So I wanted to start today on kind of, in some ways, New Year's resolutions. A lot of times people, do those. Do you guys do New Year's resolutions, or do you set goals a certain time of year? No, I'm saying no. I never have either, to believe it or not. I don't like the idea. I just feel like everybody's doing it and I want to be different. And I've always found that October was the time of year where it was my birthday. And that was the time of year that I kind of got this surge of energy, and like I got a bigger perspective on where I want to go for the next year. So I've always kind of set my goals up in October. So that's kind of an interesting time that would just be a different time of year to do that. But it helps me be able to enter the new year with already in plan what I'm going to do. So that is kind of, I feel like I'm kind of ahead of the game in some way, kind of jump start on it. So like I said, the best thing to do is to look back and see what you're grateful for, because as you're setting goals for the next year, you want to know what you're grateful for this year. And so you want to know what worked and what didn't work. And that's really important to make that assessment. And sometimes you think, well, yeah, I kind of know, but actually writing it down and really kind of in some ways keeping track of it, whether it's in a journal, it really helps you know, yeah, that's what I've done well and that's what I want to work on. Or I think it also makes you realize, hey, whatever I set last year, I actually did do it. And so you feel more confident about yourself moving forward into whatever the next goal is. So it's important to do. So I wanted us to come up with 5 things that we are grateful for. I was going to get a piece of paper here, so I have some too. The 5 things that we're grateful for this last year. And I think it's important that they don't have to be big, but I do, if you can, write them down. I think it'd be helpful. So, and just kind of suggestions are, family, people that supported you or encouraged you, different friends that you may have met or friends that you have in your life now. For me, I'm grateful for healthy food, and there's a certain kind of sweet potato that I can only get like maybe 4 times a year because I just don't sell it in my area. And so I'm really excited when I get to have those sweet potatoes. I'm always happy for the sweet potatoes. If maybe you traveled someplace or visited someplace that was encouraging to you. Sometimes there's even, you can be grateful for a time of year. you know, whether it's the springtime or the winter, you know, I put my background is snow because, you know, I love the snow. And so I'm always grateful for the snow. You know, good conversations. I think that's something that we've learned over the last 2 years that can be really missed if we don't see friends, have good conversations, time together. Those are all things that we can miss. So as you're kind of coming up with those kind of things that you are grateful for, I would love us to be able to share them and see if you have what you found that you are grateful for.
Jody, are you frozen or?
I'm not. I was just looking at something real quick. Real quick here. No, okay.
Yeah,
Double checking something. Oops. Hold on. Yep. Cancel. Okay. All right. So, all right. So what are you guys, some of the things that are your top things that you're grateful for? How about you, Jody? What are you really grateful for?
Well, in the last year, I have regained a lot of strength back, a lot of flexibility, movement that I didn't know that I'd ever get back from my car accident. So I'm extremely happy with that.
Awesome. Yeah. 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 Great.
For
What
me,
about, what were you going to say, Jody?
Oh, I said for me, that was huge.
Yeah. Yeah. When you realize that when your body doesn't work and then it starts working again, it's like, whoa, I really appreciate that. What about you, Anne?
I'm grateful for Stephen because there's always this feeling that he's been my backup for 21 years for whenever I get anxious about, is it COVID? I call Stephen. And actually I had a little touch of COVID and a longer touch of long COVID, and I just he deemed me as being free of long COVID. I'm really grateful for that because it was this insidious tiredness that it seemed like I wouldn't even have known I had COVID. I didn't even test positive on a test, you know, and yet. So yeah, I would say that's high. And also making some commitments to improve my tech ability online and actually doing it.
Sounds like I need to learn a little bit from you. The tech part.
Structure.
Yeah. And so, you know, having our health, as they say, is golden. You know, it's like when we really are able to function well, feel well, there's just so much more that we're able to accomplish instead of just kind of feeling bad. Yeah, that's definitely something we're grateful for. So Bruce, we were going over the 5 things that we were really grateful for, and Teresa, thanks for joining us. And I was we were writing down 5 things that we're grateful for that for last year, because when we're knowing what we're grateful for last year, then we can take that forward and say, hey, you know, I can accomplish things I want to accomplish, and we're taking that positivity into the next year. So Bruce, I didn't know if you had something that you wanted to share or something that you are positive or grateful for from last year, this last year. I know you're on mute.
Muted. Yeah.
And you may or may not want to share, so I'm not sure. So you'd always put it in chat too. So Teresa says she's doing her best to listen in. She's in an area of the house where it doesn't have much reception. So yeah, Teresa, if you wanted to, you know, let us know what you're grateful for in the last year, that'd be great too. So either of you are welcome to share with us if you want. All right. So for me, like I said, it's a small thing, but the sweet potatoes really make my day. I also had opportunity this fall to go and be in the fall colors around the trees and the aspen in my hometown. And I'm going to cry, but I had some opportunity to be with my family, and sometimes we're in a space with them and it's just an ordinary time, and then things change. And so then you realize that was really special, even though it didn't seem special, but it was special because now I can't do that again. And so I think that's why it's important that we do remember those things that are just sometimes mundane, whether it's walking in the woods or watching the aspen leaves fall. Those can all be something that's just really special. And so it's important for us to live in that moment and be aware of that moment so that we can appreciate that. And I think that's something I really concentrated on this last year. And I'll kind of talk about that in a little while, but yeah, it's just the little things. All right. So then kind of moving on to the next part, when you joined, if you're joined in Health Puzzle Academy, which is my Facebook group, I had asked you to ask some questions. And those questions were whether you, or what your health is, or what health issues you're dealing with now, and then where you want to be in a year, okay? So those are two things I had people ask, and I think it's important that we are aware of where we are and where we want to go. So Teresa also is writing in as you're thinking about maybe what those two things or those questions are for you. Sorry, I've got something in my eye. So she wrote, I'm grateful for more women coming into my network who need what I have to offer. I'm grateful for my son's health. And even though there is so many unknowns, he is still there with us. I'm thankful for the mundane tasks of homeschooling my kids, that even though it's hard, there has been so many beautiful moments. And yeah, so I did a great group. And so, yes, that's exactly true. Just those little things. I was looking at some picture, choosing pictures to kind of put on my post, and I was looking through some old pictures of my son, and he has one where he's got these, at one time in his life, we didn't think about it, but he went to the glass store, to pick glasses, and he chose these blue frames that were like bright blue. And so I got this picture of him, and he's got bright blue, and he's going, it's just, and it's a dumb picture. I'm like, oh, how cute, And so sometimes you take these pictures and you have them on your computer, and you realize that those little moments that are precious. And so, like Teresa's saying, that homeschooling, whether it's a picture that they did for you, or even when they interrupt you when you're trying to do something. And I have to say, I wasn't as gracious maybe in my life doing that, but I do remember how important that is, that they do get your attention and they draw you away. And I think I'm aware now when my dog comes up and wants a little scratch when I'm working. And so I try to, give her a scratch and give her my full attention and tell her how much I appreciate her. So it's important to take those little moments because they mean a lot. So thanks for sharing that, Teresa. Okay, so the health issues that where you're at now, what you're dealing with, and where you want to go. So you can certainly leave those in the chat, or you can let us know what you're dealing with and where you want to go a year from now. And I'm kind of trying to think of my own. So I'm just going to share one that I have as you guys are thinking of. So mine is I have a planner's wart on the bottom of my big toe, and it drives me nuts. And it's one of those things where it's an irritant because it hasn't gone away. With all the work that I do and I work on it, sometimes it's like it doesn't bother you that much, but then as year after year, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of sick of this. And I think it's bothering me because I had another wart on my foot, and with QT and quantum techniques, I was able to heal it within a week when I had gone to the foot doctor and done, like several weeks of different medicines and nothing helped. And I was able to get rid of it in a week. But now this one has lasted long with that, even with all the stuff that I do. And so, and even Steve has said, you know, hey, just get it frozen off. And I'm like, now I want to find out why it's there and get rid of it on my own. So I'm being a little stubborn. So I called to see if I could get it frozen off, and the place is not open during Christmas. So, oh well, I'll deal with it some more.
Maybe you'll have
anyways.
it healed by then.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my, and then where do I want to go? You know, I just kind of just, for me, I've just discovered Pilates, and I tend to be somebody that yoga is too slow for me, but I'm really doing my best. It's one of my goals. But Pilates seems to be a balance between the two, and it really makes your whole like core and stomach and everything be much stronger. And I can feel that strength. And not only does it make you feel more empowered because, you know, you're sitting up more taller, you feel more tight. But I also, I had a psychologist that I worked with for a while, and she said that when you have a tight core, then you actually feel more sexual and more, you know, vibrant. And so it's kind of all part of being a woman. And so doing more Pilates has really helped that whole area of me feel more confident. And so I've really kind of started doing that more. And so that's kind of one of the things that I want to continue to work on. So it's kind of a health goal in some ways that way. So, so if you guys have something, you can raise your hand or say, Jody or Ann, if you know kind of like what you want to deal with or what you're dealing with now and where you want to go.
Sure, I'll go.
Yeah.
I just want to continue to expand on what I've been working on. Since my accident, I don't know if it's all accident related or just what was in me to heal, but I've had a lot of nerve problems, feeling different areas, my legs since my accident, and I don't know, it was pretty scary, and I just want to keep working on that. I think I regained a lot, and then obviously work towards weight loss. For a long time, you know, I couldn't do a lot, so keep going in that direction.
Okay, great. What about you, Ann?
I have stuff around my eyes that I've had for 15 years, and Steven's worked on it 1,000 times, and I still have like flaky peeling skin around my eyes. It would be nice if I got that handled in the next year, because I don't wear any eye makeup. I look kind of bedraggled and like, yeah, that still remains a problem.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, and I just know from experience that both Steve and I have had issues with that long COVID being kind of in that area, which is kind of odd that it would impact that area. So, but it sounds like you've had it longer than that.
Yeah. Yeah, it started when I had eye surgery that fried my eyes and messed up my tear ducts. And ever since, things haven't circulated properly.
Got it. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So Teresa wrote in, she said, yes, I had one too. And recently it did not go away. So I think she's talking about the work that I have too. Too long and freezing off doesn't work as often as on planners. So I hear what I'm saying. So, so did you say that you have a right core, you are more sexual? Yeah, she said that when you're more tight in your belly area and everything, that you do feel more sexual, and you feel more confident and everything like that. And they, you know, I think we've heard about the Harvard studies that when you put your hands on your hips, you know, and you stand the Superman stance for 2 minutes a day, that you actually it increases your testosterone, and so you feel more empowered. And so it's or I may have to, but it really does help with the women hormones and everything like that. So it's something to practice 2 minutes a day. It's all it takes, just 2 minutes. So, and it lowers cortisol. I think that's what it is. It helps lower cortisol and gives you more empowerment. So,
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
yes, again.
Okay, so I'm Jody. I'm upstairs doing like kid stuff and everything, so it's not quite late here, but yeah, that's so interesting because I've heard about the Superman pose and I've done it in the past, and mostly for like presentations or like before you're going to present to somebody, and it totally works. But it also makes complete sense that like your core down there, like that would definitely make you feel more sexual because it totally involves your posture too, and so when your core is engaged, your posture is engaged, maybe you feel a little more tight in there down there. Such a sensitive subject.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's super insightful. Thank you for sharing that because that's definitely an area that I want to grow in.
No, I love that my therapist said that. And so it's like, it's really helped me say, okay, I want to really make a habit of this. And so it really has helped. I've noticed that the more Pilates I do, the more stronger I feel and the more, sensual I feel and happy. So, all right. So, so I think the thing that is surprising or that someone has said is that we can, a lot of times we look and we say, okay, how much can I accomplish this year? Okay. And so we look at that and we say, okay, yeah, I want to accomplish this. A lot of times in that 1 year, we may not accomplish as much as we want to, but in 5 years, we accomplish more than we thought we could. So it's worth us to make those plans and those goals and kind of think of where we're going, because it really does help us accomplish what we want. So I think that's important to remember. And Dean Graziosi is always saying that, if you can do less a year than you thought, but you can do more in 5 years than you thought you could. So I'm going to put in and Bruce, you haven't gone off mute, and so I assume that you would put something in chat if you wanted to, or speak out about what your goals are and things like that. So feel free to share. We want the men perspective too. So so I'd love you to join my my Facebook group, and so I'm going to put the link in chat so you'd have that. Okay. And then, we're kind of going over some subjects here that may have sparked kind of what you're wanting to work on. And I'd love to get to know, you guys more. Jody, we have done, some QT sessions before, some quantum technique sessions, and really kind of got some deep issues going. Anne, you've worked with, Steve, but I'm always open to kind of sometimes having different perspectives on things. And so if you're wanting to do a 15-minute, exploratory call on what you're working on and things like that, I'll give you the link so you could set up a, I just kind of messed it up. Let's see. Did I mess that up? I think I did. Gosh, I always get let me undo this. I always get copy and paste. I have dyslexia, so it's always a 50-50 chance. So I either copy it wrong or paste it wrong. So, okay. All right, let's try this again. So anyway, I'll give you my email address so that you have that too. So if you want to set up the 15-minute tea to get to know, what your issues are and what you're dealing with and how maybe this healing modality can help you. It's just a great way to start and get to know whether this will be helpful for you. All right. So what are your top 5 goals for the next year? So we kind of talked about where you are, physically and how maybe you want to work on those. So I kind of say, health goals, because that's about health and happiness, but they could be other goals too. So go ahead and write down, what your 5 top goals are. And like I said, they don't have to be big. One of the things that I was working on for a while is trying to eat an apple a day. My mom absolutely loves apples, and I think it's actually one of the things that's helped her stay as healthy as she is. They always say an apple a day keeps the doctor away, and I think there's something to that. And then someone told me that you really shouldn't have that much fruit, and if you're going to have apples or fruit, you should have it at the beginning of the meal and not the end of the meal, because it has more sugar in it. And you don't want to have the sugar at the end of the meal because your body can't process it. So then I stopped eating apples. I'm like, okay, there's got to be a balance in here some way. So, everything in moderation. But in the wintertime, eating soup, sometimes it's nice to have an apple. So you're kind of balancing out the vegetables in the soup. But anyway, so that's been my simple goal, is to have an apple a day. So some of the other things that could be, just kind of small things, but really do add to your health is, brushing your teeth after each meal. Another thing is, if you know about it, is to do oil pulling, where you actually take, just like a little bit of a tablespoon of coconut oil, you put it in your mouth and let it dissolve, and then you kind of squish it through your teeth, and then you spit it out. Not in the sink, because it will harden, but to spit it in the trash can. I would love to keep doing that, but I forget every night. So that would be something that I would need to add. A couple other ideas is adding a second vegetable to your dinner. Walking 30 minutes a day, doing yoga 5 days a week. Some of the other non-physical things that are still good for your health is maybe having to set a boundary with somebody that you feel like it's really blocking your or getting in your life and being a disruption. And so understanding what boundary you may need to have with a person. Another one would be drinking half of your body weight in water. Just working on trying to flush, all those toxins that you take on in your body every day. So those are just kind of some of the things that, I've kind of tried to maybe work on throughout the day. So as you guys are thinking, I'll read Teresa's, because she came in. So Bruce wrote organic, of course. Yes. Yes. We're probably order organic coconut oil. Yes, you're right. Good thought. So Teresa says, continue hot lemon water instead of coffee. And I love that. I was on a call with her earlier today, and she was saying how she doesn't like the taste of coffee. And I have never been a coffee drinker. And so doing the lemon water it's a great alternative, and it really lightens you up and makes you more awake. And so there's a lot of people that say that lemon water is really healthy. The only thing I would say is it's important to, after you're done drinking that, is to just rinse your mouth with water. And sometimes it needs to be rinsed with something a little bit more, because sometimes that acid will stay on the teeth. And I was drinking lemon water all through COVID, loved it, it was great. And I had 3 cavities at the end. So I was not too pleased with that. So that's why I just bring that for caution. Looks like we have another admit here. I'm surprised it doesn't tell me who the admit person is. So anyway, I have someone on iPhone. I don't know if their name will come up. So welcome them. So hi, we see iPhone, but we don't know who that is. So welcome. We're just kind of getting started, and we're going through right now the 5 health goals that you would like to add to your life. Okay. So going back to Teresa's, let's see, drink more water, instead of other substances like alcohol or sparkling water or juice. Take more showers or hot baths with soft music. Oh, I love that. I'll tell you a funny story on that. I had a acupressurist that was a really good friend of mine, and I'd work and then like bustle into her office, for my healing session. And she's like, "So how are you?" I'm like, "I'm fine." And then she's like, "Oh," and I don't know how we got on the subject, but she said, "Oh, I really enjoyed a bath this weekend," or something like that. I said, "Oh, I'd love to have a bath." And it dawned on me, the only person stopping me from having that bath was me. And so it really made me it's like one of those pivotal moments in my life where I realized hey, if I want something, I have to choose it and put it in my life. And that's kind of why we're setting these goals. And so that was just like a really pivotal moment in my life to think, okay, I want that. And so I'm going to make sure it happens. Okay, she also says, walk on the treadmill desk while doing regular social media tasks. I love that. So you're kind of keeping, you know, walking. Oh, and she said also boundaries. Bruce says to not get angry. Ooh, I'm with you on that. Sometimes I watch things and get a little bit too frustrated. So trying to set a boundary on what you take in. And also I think, Bruce, having a place where you can send that. In other words, you know, we talk a lot about when you have a frustration, saying, okay, thanks for coming, but now be on your way. Or Corinthians, 2 Corinthians 10:5, that thought, you know, thanks for coming, but you know, take every thought captive. So you're sending it away. And so not letting the anger get inside, but letting it out, whether it's through journaling, prayer. But I think identifying it and knowing that, hey, I'm having an issue here is helpful. So great idea. Bruce also says to be kind and don't worry. Yes, and to be grateful. Okay, be grateful and then work hard to meditate. Yeah, I too have been trying to work in the meditation in the evenings, and I'm trying to do yoga. It's kind of part of that. When I have a couple, I don't want to say videos, but I think you probably could find them on YouTube, where you can do sound baths. You know, where they do the bowls, and then they and that really is relaxing, and it's kind of a nice meditation, quiet thing. So that might be something to look into. Yes, go take a girl's bath. I love it. All right, and then Bruce also talks about you know, social media. So yeah, limiting social media. So Jody, what about you? What are some of the things that you're working on goal-wise?
Well, making myself more a priority. I tend to, you know, spread myself too thin and deal with this, and this, and it's like I forget about taking care of myself. So that's a big one for me. Drinking the water. Sometimes I want to, and then I don't drink enough. So there's that. And yeah, boundaries, I think, is a big one for me. I think mine are getting tested lately, and I really just need to continue to grow in that area and, you know, say, okay, enough, you know, I'm just enough.
Yeah, well, that's great. Yeah, boundaries. Yeah, it kind of depends. Different boundaries are different. They can be taken in different ways. In other words, there's a boundary of what you don't want someone to do to you. And there's also a boundary of what you don't want to do towards them. And I guess the example that really spoke to me is Henry Cloud, and I can't think of the other guy's name at the moment. I think it's Thompson. They had a series called Boundaries, and they kind of went from church to church and talked about it. And it really was very profound. They had good exercises and good videos about it. But the thing that impacted me the most, they said, you know, if you're always stepping in so that you don't allow people to reap what they sow, then they don't ever learn from that. And that was just really profound, because I was kind of doing that to my husband. I was kind of stepping in to make sure that whether his health was okay, or whether he didn't, you know, a situation didn't get too frustrating for him. But then I was taking all the burden, and I realized he wasn't going to learn if I was kept taking it on. So I kind of backed off, and sure enough, you know, he learned from that situation, and it changed. So and I didn't have to take on the burden. So yeah, so there's two ways to look at those boundaries: what we allow in and what we give.
Thanks for sharing that second half. I never even thought about that part.
Yeah. And have I given you that energy shield to kind of protect against other people's energy coming to you and you giving too much? That might be something that everybody may want. And so you might. Pardon?
I would love that.
Yeah. So put in the chat, or it's easier for you to send me an email at jody@quantumtechniques.com, and I can put that email in again. But that's a really good way for me to like have that, and then I can, you send me the email, and then I can send you, and you say energy shield. And I have a video, and then I have a, the exercise of what to do. It's a really good way to keep your energy. I've really found it profound, because then you're not giving it away to too many people. Yes, Bruce says healers have boundary issues, including me. Yes, that's very true. We have to realize how much we take on. And I have really strong boundaries, but there are times like, well, I'll be sleeping and I will wake up and I will think of a client that I've worked with and what they need to do, or something that I need to look at. But they're people that I work with all the time. So it's not like I just like random people, but sometimes that's a way of me knowing how to work with them. But yeah, you have to really kind of put boundaries on that. Because sometimes you can give more than they're actually giving. In other words, you're doing their work more than they are themselves. That can get,
That's burnout.
and yeah, so Teresa says it's just double checking the quantum techniques, and I could definitely tell I probably spelled it wrong, but I think I spelled it correctly. So yeah, that's correct. All right, so Anne, what about you? What things are you working on?
I don't know that I'm just working on being more peaceful and more quiet and less triggered by things, less judgmental, feeling one with God all the time. That's the ultimate feeling I wish to have. My biggest problem has been a homeless friend of mine who lived in her car. She was in an accident, and a motorcyclist died, and the police impounded her car. And so every day it's some drama about where she's going to sleep, and it's just endless. It's just endless, and it's just endless. And I notice I'm getting more and more resentful and feeling beleaguered. And she's pretty much evoking the same responses in everybody who's tried to support her, and not knowing where to set my boundaries, because really 81-year-old women sleeping on the sidewalk when it's freezing cold is not really a recipe for me being able to live with myself. So
yeah, that is a hard situation.
I bought her an hour with Stephen, and he's blown through EMF sensitivities, heavy metals, toxins, pesticides, pretty much everything, but he hasn't fixed her mentality yet. Or her karma. So it's interesting to watch.
Yeah, exactly. All right,
So yeah, that I would say that's the main thing that I feel oppressive about. And there's some things I'm avoiding in terms of being more public and more assertive at work and getting out there. But I'm not really, I don't think I'm really ready to make any great commitments about any of that yet.
So I wanted each of you, now that we've kind of gone through the goals, is pick maybe what's your hardest one, or the one that you would like to work on. And I wanted to kind of do a clearing for each of us to make sure that it's clear and you don't have any blocks to achieving it. And doing that both with emotions, beliefs, and life commandments. And that way you have a good step into 2023. So,
Do you know how long this is going to take? Because I have to leave at about 5:57 for another Zoom commitment.
okay. I don't think it'd be too much longer. So I'm just gonna have each one kind of raise your hand when you have what it is that you're wanting to work on. And so Teresa's asking, belief, what in life meant. Don't worry about that part. I'll cover that, Teresa. Just I want you to just think of the one goal that you're wanting to work on. So, and so raise your hand if you have it. Okay, so Jody's got it, and you've got yours. Okay, and so Teresa, do you have the one, and Bruce, do you have yours of what you're wanting to work on? And I just need you to have it in your head, so when I test you, I know what it is, that you know what it is, and I know I'm getting a good connection. So yeah, so I'll work with yes. Okay, so you got it. Great, thanks, Bruce. All right, so Teresa, just give me a thumbs up or a hand that I know that you have it when you have it. So Anne, because you have to go first, let me work with yours. Okay, so in thinking about what it is, okay, we just want to we want to clear it as a curtain, and we just want to make sure, is there an emotion in moving forward? Okay, so I'm getting it's a 1 out of 10. Okay, so Teresa may have fallen off, and so I'm admitting her again. Okay, so she says that yes, she's got it. Okay. All right, now we see you twice. All right, so you said yes, you got it. All right, all right. All right, so going to Anne. So I get that the strength of it moving forward is a 1 out of 10. Okay, so we want to ask, is there an emotion that's part of here? No, but there is a blocking belief. So let's see what that is. Okay, got my list here. So it's a belief in regards to God. Okay, that God will abandon you. Okay, is there another belief? No, but there is an intention, or we call it a life commandment. So what is it there? So it's a conscious conflict. Okay, so I want to clear that first belief as a curtain, and then the conscious conflict, we just want to clear that because we don't necessarily need to know what it is. That's what I love about what I do, is we don't have to relive the trauma or the situation. We don't have to go into it. Our body knows energetically what that is and where it's holding it in the tissue. Okay, okay, so cleared that. So then just asking now, how strong are you for moving that forward? Now I get a 10. So those were just a couple things that were blocking it. Does that make sense? Do you have any questions?
Well, I have no conscious sense whatsoever that I believed that God would abandon me.
Okay.
That does not feel real at all.
Okay.
I mean, if it were there, it was extremely unconscious.
Got it. Would it be more of a thing like if you had achieved it, would you feel like you had his help in achieving that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it could be kind of like a more of that kind of thing. In other words, would he help you 100% behind that goal? So that's what it could. You may not feel that he was 100% supportive.
Well, I think maybe I just haven't had the habit of asking enough.
Yeah. You know, someone in Teresa's group, she's I'm doing some coaching with her, and she's awesome, by the way. And one of the girls that we're working with said that, you know, she's tried to lose weight forever, and she was having a real struggle. But then when she asked God to help her with it and to bring him into how he created the body, then it worked for her. And I have to admit, I had never thought about that being a thing that you could do. You know, I mean, it's like, I always thought it was just my struggle. And it's like, why isn't this happening? And, you know, some of that idea about pulling up my own bootstraps and making it, accomplishing it. I never thought about him helping me along the journey. So sometimes it's like we get in our own way, I guess the best way to put that. So sometimes it can just take different ways. So, yeah. So
Mhm.
yeah.
That's good. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so Jody, why don't we go for yours? So you have yours in way. So I just want to see. Okay, is there so the strength of you achieving yours is also a 1. Okay, and so we're just saying, is there any other emotion? No. Is there? But there is a belief. Let's see what that is. Okay, so it's about suffering and self-punishment. Okay, so this one I'm getting, it's in the realm of like family leaving and deserve to suffer.
Maybe, because it seems like since this brings up some emotion. I've struggled horribly since losing my mom. And my confidence, you know, just, you know, not being as self-assured as I should be, and it took the wind out of me.
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of getting, that leaving family, that kind of issue. Yeah, that's I don't get that there's any other intention on that. Just go ahead and clear that. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, so now it's much stronger.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. All right. So Teresa, let's do Bruce because I just have it written down here. So he has, you have not conscious or unconscious. Did you have a point on that?
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, well, when Ann said something about she doesn't understand it, well, consciousness is not running the show. It's unconscious is running the show. So we don't understand that sometimes it's the unconscious believe this. Consciously, we don't believe it, but that was my point.
Got it. Okay. So, Bruce, you said you have yours in your goal that you want to work for. And so let's go ahead and test that. So just thinking about that moving forward, I actually get that's a 10. So let's just see, is there any emotion or blocking belief or punch that? Yeah, I don't get anything. Is there anything that you wanted to, that you're aware of that you might want to clear on that?
Well, no, I'm a radiology practitioner, so I'm running a program I built for radiologics to clear out all non-blocking beliefs. So I have that running, so hopefully that's cleared a lot of things out.
Yeah. I've never seen you, I've never seen your picture, but I recognize your voice from all the elites.
Yeah. Well,
So I love your information when we're working with Steve. So thanks.
thank you.
All right. So Teresa. So all right. So like I said, I like to keep this, anonymous, so you don't have to like share what your goal is, but you're welcome to too. But just looking at what that goal is that you're wanting to work on. Okay, I also get it to 1 out of 10. So we just want to clear and see what's blocking that. So there's no emotion, but there is a belief. Okay.
So I don't quite understand the scale,
No problem.
but that's okay.
It's just saying like 1 from 10. A 10 is that like achieving it, and 1 is just letting me know that we're not at a 10. There's some blocks in the way. So
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I listed 5 things earlier, but like my main goal for this year is just to continue healing through trauma.
okay.
And so that being sexual trauma. And I mean, I've made huge progress over the last year, but just to it's my daughter. We are alone at home right now. The boys are gone, so she's
Got it.
totally goofy and mommy's girl. Yeah, I mean that's my big thing. It's not like a measurable goal, I guess, but so I don't know if that's exactly what you're looking for, but that's my main thing, is like to continue progressing in that, and just being open to allowing the Lord to shift my life as he wills, because I do feel like right now, as you know, like I'm in marketing and sales and all that's wonderful, but there's also a pull to like, I've lived through things and want to share them with others, but yet I have so much healing of my own to do that I didn't realize that I needed to do. So
Yeah, and
for
I
that.
know I personally struggle. I feel like I have to be perfect before I teach. And, you know, they constantly are saying your mess is your message. And so when you share the mess, then people can relate to that so that they want to join you. And, you know, my personal struggle is weight. And I always feel like, but I'm not the size I want to be. And until I do that, then I can't help anybody. And I realize, would I go to anybody that's really skinny to get health? You know, no, because they have no idea the struggle, you know, and so it's kind of like I'm kind of gotten in my own way because I realize, you know, no, I work on it every single day and I work out and I, you know, and it's in my mind. And so I've been through so many steps, and that is the mess that we've been through. So it really is, our mess can help somebody else for sure. All right, so let's just see what else we got there. So, so trying to move forward in that, like I said, there's no emotion that I'm pulling, but I am getting a belief. So it's a belief about God. So let's see what that is. Okay, so also God abandoning you. So that may be that you felt like he wasn't there during the damage. And so you want him to be there to help. Okay, is there another blocking belief? No, but there is an intention. Let's see what that is. To gain approval from God, and just being through my own journey with what you also have been through, or I don't know exactly, but I've been through my own journey with sexuality damage, is that you felt like, well, where was God? Why wasn't he protecting me in this? And so is he going to continue to protect me in the future? And there's that question there. And so I've had to work on that myself. And so I that can be a part of it. Is there another intention there? No. All right. So we're just going to clear that as a curtain. Okay. And clear any trauma that may come up with that. Okay. So now, okay, so there's another layer underneath that, and that's where emotion is coming up. So let's see what emotions are there. So isolated, lack of control, loneliness, loss. Okay, so clearing those emotions. Okay, so now that's clear. Okay, so moving forward. So now that's testing a 10 as a 10. So there's no blocks to moving forward on that. All right, so Bruce is writing in here. It says, and do you have any questions on that? Sorry, Teresa, I kind of moved on. So.
Did you say at the end that's something of 10 minutes of 10?
It's just 10 of 10. So in other words, I don't now get that there's any blocks to moving forward in that.
Okay.
So you have a need to detox to allow the body to heal. The body will not allow the body to lose weight as long as it needs to use the fat cells to store the toxins. You're very right, correct, Bruce. Do a detox and the body may move towards weight loss. So yeah, that's one of the things I mention to people a lot when they're trying to lose weight, is that our bodies know that it wants, the best thing it wants to do is to make sure those organs are way protected, you know, that all our organs. And so if we encounter toxins, it sends those toxins into the fat cells to keep them away from the organs so they don't damage the organs. We don't like the look because it puts on weight, but that's what it's trying to do. And so when we detox, we're moving that out and getting it out. And so making sure you have a good detox system to do that. Now, I'm not necessarily a component for doing actual like detox programs, like taking a whole bunch of herbs to do it. We do it a little bit more naturally and making sure that the body can detox in a certain order. And so we make sure that the colon is functioning well, the liver is functioning well, the kidneys are functioning well, so that as the body detoxes, it's colon, lymph, liver, kidneys, saliva, breath, and menstruation. Those are all the ways the body's detox, that those are all clear of anything that will be blocking it from not allowing it to detox. So, so that's making sure everything's working. Yeah, and Bruce says as long as you get the results that you want. So yeah, just making sure that you clear that in. Okay. All right, so great. Looks like Anne had to go. She let us know that she was going. So let's see where I'm at her on my lovely outline. All right, so the things I did, we're kind of reaching an hour, and so I just kind of finish up here. I think the things that is helpful is to find a way to be accountable, and that could be setting a timer on your phone. Teresa had a great idea of making sure that you pair it with something you're already doing. And so, for example, when I get ready to get in the shower, I always do 2 stretches of a yoga morning salutation. And that way I'm kind of stretching at the end, but I'm always saying I can't get in the shower until I do that. So you're pairing something with it so that you make sure and get it done. You know, brushing your teeth, if you're trying to get that done after every meal before you sit down to do your work or read a book or whatever you're going to do. So I wanted to leave you with 2 blessings. One is Philippians 4:8, which says everything, whatever things are true, honest, just, pure, lovely, good virtue, and praise, to think on these things. And I'm sorry, I'm tearing up. That's my mom's favorite verse. And she's headed to the hospital at the moment. And so we're just kind of praying for her because she's having some issues. And so, but anyway, that's her favorite verse. And so she's always kind of led me in being positive and, you know, it's just, it's a blessing you can say over your life. And when you do think of those things, that's being grateful. That is being aware of always having those things that are kind of just, I always think of it as kind of washing over yourself and those good positiveness. Another thing that I've found to be very helpful in sending positiveness to me and then sending it out to others is the Ho'oponopono prayer, which is the Hawaiian prayer of I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry, thank you. And I have a friend of mine that's a dear friend, and she does the symbol for a love, so she, infinite love and gratitude. So she puts that over her heart and then says infinite love and gratitude. And so I've kind of done that, but then also said the Ho'oponopono prayer. So I'm sending infinite love and gratitude to myself and to others in the world. So I can send you that phrase if you have never heard that before. So you can send me an email and I can send that to you. But that's very powerful because it really helps heal the situations that you're in, not only you, but the person that you're dealing with. All right, so the next steps really from here is great that you have, you know, things that you're grateful for, and to remember that every day, the things you're grateful for, and make that a practice. And then also you have your goals that you're wanting to work for the next year, and being able to kind of know what those are. And I think it's important to kind of have those in front of us to review them. Sometimes I get frustrated. I'm like, oh, they're not coming true, but kind of just reviewing them every day is really helpful. And I've been reviewing 3 goals for myself every day, and I'm amazed at how much I'm working towards them because they're so right in front of me every day. So it's important to have that. So I'd love you to join my Facebook group so that we're getting a community together to share more of these ideas and health, and really doing some different programs this coming year to take care of our health and to you know, live in vitality. So I can share that group link again, and it's Health Puzzle Academy. That's a Facebook group. I will share that in the chat. All right. And then the second thing is, oops, hold on. I think it went just to you, Teresa. For some reason, it got switched. So I'm going to send it to everyone. There we go. Okay. The second way is to, I'd love to kind of, if you're wanting to do, or getting to know this modality a little bit more, doing a 15-minute tea. Bruce, I know you've worked with Steve, Anne had worked with Steve, and Jody, we've worked together. But, and if you have people that are wanting to learn more about the modality, this is a great way for them to kind of learn what it is, and be able to understand. I have somebody I'm going to work with tomorrow that she's been trying to share the quantum techniques modality. And he's kind of like, well, is it, kind of God-centered or not? And he's really struggling with that. So I'm going to meet with her and kind of talk a little bit more about how it is God-centered and how we are communicating with what God has given us, which is our muscles in our body, to be able to share that with others. And so looking forward to that tomorrow. But that is just explaining, kind of what I do, because sometimes I have a hard time explaining it to others, and so it can be confusing. So I think that would really help. So my goal is for you to discover the root cause of your health issue, whatever that is. And so you can finally have some answers. So you can have some clarity on what I'm supposed to do. In other words, what toxins and pathogens may be coming up. And then once you clear those, then you have the energy to be able to move forward, to be able to do what you want to do. And then you can live in peace, knowing that you're headed in that right direction, so you can get back your health and happiness that God gave you, and your health that you want, that you so richly deserve. So I didn't know if anybody held any more questions that I could help answer tonight. I kind of went over and talked a lot, so. Well, great. Well, we talked about maybe sending you the energy shield, which would be very helpful in dealing with others and setting boundaries. And some of the other things, I have I'm trying to think of, I had some things written down as ideas, but I'm trying to match it to kind of some of the things that we talked about. There's a prayer that I have been saying for the last, it was 8 years, and now I think it's another 6. And it's really blessed me. So that's be something that I could share with you. It's a prayer called I Declare, and it really helps you kind of write those goals. It's a form, and so then you write in like what your goals are that you're working on. And I'm always finding my list longer and longer. But it's a great way to say your prayers every day and declare that prayer. So if that's something you want, you're welcome to send me an email, and I can send you that prayer along with that energy shield, if that would help with you with boundaries. So I will share my email address so that you can write me about that. All right. So I mentioned, the first step is to join the Facebook group. The second one is to do what they call virtual tea to kind of get to know the modality. But if you're ready to jump in or do a session, that would be the third thing, is to set up a session. And so I'm offering that if you sign up for a session by this coming Friday night at 5, I'm offering a discount of the session being only for new clients, it's $300, and so I'm offering a new session. And Jody, you took me up on that last time, so that was great. So we get to work on that. And Bruce, I know that you're working with Steve, and he doesn't mind if we work with other modality or other QT practitioners. So if that's something you're wanting to do, we're offering that to not just new clients to QT, but also returning that are on the team here. So we're offering that. So that would be $300 for a 60 minutes worth of testing to find out what you're wanting to work on. So we're offering that if you sign up by Friday. And so you can send me an email if that's something you're wanting to do. And Bruce, you probably already have your paperwork in, so it'd just be a matter of looking at your paperwork and see what you need. So yeah, so if you guys have any other questions, but yeah, I appreciate you coming today and kind of going through what your goals are and helping me kind of clear out anything that may be blocking from moving forward. And I hope that, and sometimes by going through some of those, what are those emotions, what are those beliefs, you can kind of see, hey, what has been blocking me, or just have a deeper level of understanding what may be getting in the way or what you need to work on. And I think that's what's so nice is it kind of reveals what we need to work on so that you can move forward. Yeah. Well, it's good to see you guys. Great to see you, Bruce and Teresa and Jody. So yeah. All right. So I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year. And we'll see you in January for our next Zoom. And we're working on it. And me and Teresa just talked about it today. That we're going to try to talk about the thyroid. So I'm really excited about that. So looking forward to seeing you guys.
Thank
All right,
you,
guys.
Jody.
Yes. Have a blessed evening.
You too. Bye.
Bye.